Ladies and gentle gamers, welcome back to Be Determined. Today we have the end of year recap from the admins, as well as some leaks for some things that may be coming out next year and some that are definitely coming out next year. So if you guys enjoy this video, make sure to drop a like, smash the sub button if you haven't already, and let's jump straight into it. So today's post is from Jaya Varman, and he talks a lot about all the updates that we've had this year, as well as some that are coming next year. So to start off, we did have 14 version release updates this year. In January, we had the fan changes and some QOL. In February, it was the God Potions update and the Super Crafting update. In March, we got the Tab List update, which is another QOL that's super underrated. And in April, we got the Glaciate Tunnels, Chocolate Factory, and Hoppity's Hunt. In May, it was some QOLs to those updates, Chocolate Factory and Glaciate Tunnels. In June, we had SkyBlock's 5th anniversary. In July, we got Better Mayors and Bizarre Overbidding Protection. In August, we got the Artist's Abode update, aka the dye update. In September, Modernized Mining and dye changes, which was the mining revamp that has been pretty major. In October, it was the museum overhaul, as well as the Great Spook event. In November, it was Pest Hunters Wares, Chocolate Factory, and more. And in December, this month, we got Crimson Isle QOL and the Rift Mountaintop. Then he goes on to talk about how in 2023, they realized they could do updates every 3 weeks. And they've managed to maintain that schedule, but they also realized they had a lot of QOL updates to do, which is kind of what we got a lot of last year. This year they tried to focus a bit more on what truly matters, the big content updates. But their goals for this year were to release at least one update every month, release 4 major content updates during the year, and increase the quality of the QOL update. They did pretty well on the first goal. I think we can all agree on that. We've had quite a few updates this year. And their second goal was to release the Glaciate Tunnels, the Foraging update, Better Mayors, and Rift Mountaintop. Of course, Foraging update has been delayed, but they maintain the same level of expectations for 2025. So sounds like we're getting 4 new content updates that are pretty major, which they talked about some of these in the later sections, so we'll go over that in a bit. But he talks a little bit about all the updates that did get released, starting with the Glaciate Tunnels. They're pretty happy with how mining is now, but they're going to focus on other parts of the game in the near future. They do want to do some other things with mining, but not right now. They're very happy with the way the Better Mayors update came out and also the Rift Mountaintop. And we get a little hint here, while it marks the end of the Rift journey, it also paves the way for a completely different place they've been eager to release since the start of SkyBlock. So my theory is that we're going to go back in time a little bit and have a different breach at the top of the Rift, or the top of the mountaintop. After you complete the Rift, you can access this breach and it'll take you back in time to perhaps when SkyBlock was just a regular Minecraft world and all of the floating islands were just regular land. Again, this is just completely a theory, but that's what I'm hoping for. Talks a little bit about Chocolate Factory, but the third goal was they wanted to add more content to SkyBlock, specifically around QOL updates. But this year they released fewer QOL updates. They focused on higher quality features like the stackable God Potion, super crafting, etc. And they also started adding new content into the QOL updates, like they did with the mining revamp, the Pest Hunters Wares, and the Crimson Isle QOL. So in the future, they're planning on doing more things like this, where when they do a QOL to something, they'll make sure to add something to it as well. So for example, with Modernized Mining this year, they not only did a bunch of QOL stuff to mining, they also added in the Dwarvenos and all of those things. So there's a lot of nice QOL features that we can get, and content updates on top of those QOL. But now we get to the big part, what's coming next. And of course, we have to talk about the Foraging update first. The first island of Galatia has almost finished development along with a new hunting skill. We've been told this for a very long time, and I'm going to be honest, this last sentence does not sound good. They understand that our expectations for this update are probably incredibly high at this stage, and it will be hard to meet them. But we believe this will be the first major step in the future of SkyBlock. Saying it will be hard to meet them does not sound great. I'm gonna be completely honest. This kind of concerns me. I mean, it has been like 3 years since this update got announced, maybe 4 now. So I'm sure some people's expectations are a little unrealistic, but the devs admitting this does cause me a little bit of concern. I'm not gonna lie. But they do announce that they're gonna be having some extra mobs like the new vanilla mobs, axolotls, and strays as well, plus new blocks, sounds, and particles that have been added recently. But then we get to the currently planned updates, which we get some pretty crazy crazy spoilers on the Great Glaciate Lake, the Experimentation Table RNG meter, Project Iron Man W's, Year 400 celebration, new Slayer content, Chocolate Factory V4, and Year of the Seal. And then they go a little bit more in depth on everything here. They talk about how they teased that Glaciate Tunnels V2 would contain some fishing content, and when they announced that, it was going to be mainly a mining update, but then they did the mining QOL and decided to put this update on the side, and so instead the Great Glaciate Lake is going to be more of a fishing update than a mining update, but it will still have some mining stuff. Again, all the stuff they talk about here is liable to change, but we'll go over it anyways because some of this stuff sounds really cool. The Great Glaciate Lake will have an offering system, so you can throw offerings into the lake, usually in the form of gemstones, and their next mine shaft is more likely to be that gemstone type. So you can just go and throw in like a fine jasper, and maybe the next mine shaft you find will be a jasper mine shaft. They're also going to add some new glaciate mine shafts, some of which will contain content outside of mining. It could be really interesting if there's, you know, one that's just for fishing. I wouldn't be shocked if that's part of it. Like maybe you throw bait in and you're like guaranteed to catch a specific sea creature if you fish in this mine shaft. But speaking of sea creatures, they're also going to add some new glaciate sea creatures all the way from common to mythic rarity. And I think it's worth noting, I believe the only mythic rarity sea creatures that we have right now is maybe Rain Drake. I don't know if Rain Drake counts, but I know Thunder and Jawbus are mythic. So there's not too many mythic rarity sea creatures. So hopefully these ones are pretty powerful. And they're going to talk about that right here because the Great Glaciate Lake will be the means through which you obtain the next super rare piece of equipment following from the Pendant of Devon. So the next Devon equipment piece, it sounds like that's what it's going to be, is going to be from fishing, which is kind of interesting. I kind of like that they're doing some mixing and matching of some of these things where you have to do one skill to get the best gear in another skill. Again, it shouldn't be solely on that, you know, like you shouldn't have to max out fishing to be able to have the best mining gear in the game. But if there's like one piece of really good mining equipment that you get from maxing out fishing, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. And again, probably shouldn't be from maxing out fishing. This sea creature is from fishing skill 35, which isn't too far up there considering it goes all the way up to 50, but I wouldn't be surprised if they add like fishing 60 with this update, to be honest. But next up is the Experimentation Table RNG meter. Basically, they're planning on removing some of the less desirable enchants, and they're going to be adding some new things to the enchantment table, such as Golden Bounty and the Beginner's Guide to Pest Hunting, and they're going to call those endpoint enchantments, and you'll be able to find those in the experimentation table in the future. But they also want to make sure that they add all the enchantments that are currently exclusive to the experimentation table as drops elsewhere in the game, which is pretty cool. So you'll be able to get like Sharp 7 and things like that from other areas without having to only focus on experimentation table or dark auction, things like that. Speaking of dark auction, we got some Iron Man W's on the next one, which doesn't consist mainly of the dark auction. It's actually Shin's auctions and the cosmetics auction house. Basically, Iron Man players will only be able to buy from the cosmetics auction house. You won't be able to sell, but it looks like you'll be able to buy dyes and pet skins and armor skins and backpack skins, etc. from this auction house, which is pretty cool. But it's going to be pretty interesting to see how this works because I'm sure there's going to be some cursed items that end up on Iron Man players' profiles. Imagine some of the OG black sheepskins and it's stuck on an Iron Man profile because they can buy it, but they cannot sell it. So if they buy that black sheepskin, then it's stuck on that profile. They cannot sell it ever. It's kind of the equivalent of museuming it, but only for Iron Man players. They're also going to have some Iron Man exclusive Shin's auctions, which will be pretty cool. And again, this is not like all that they're adding in this update. This is just what they're sharing. So there could be some even cooler things like implementing some Iron Man only economy mechanics as well. Besides just the Shin's auction, imagine dark auctions like that, because that could be pretty cool. But next up is the Year 400 event, where they're going to make raffle tickets primarily earned by completing daily quests throughout SkyBlock. There will be easy, medium, and hard quests. So it sounds kind of like bingo. There will be like a daily bingo type thing, but you know, I doubt it's going to be 25 quests per day, but a certain amount of quests each day that you can complete to earn raffle tickets. So it's not just about AFKing, which is really nice because I legit AFK'd that entire week last year whenever the Year 300 event was going on. They're also going to have a small mini game that can be played similar to the gifting mechanic on Jerry's Island that lets players gift to each other and eat cake and earn more raffle tickets, as well as some exclusive rewards by doing that. so that's pretty nice. Also, they're not going to make it so specific drops come out of these. Like last year, it was like one day it'd be 25 guaranteed Necron handles get dropped, and the next day it was like guaranteed Devon's alloys. Instead, it's just going to be one major reward, which can be anything from an alloy to a handle to probably like a shattered locket, things like that. So you won't have to stay up one specific day to try and get your Necron's handle. Instead, you can do any day and hope that you get a handle or maybe an alloy. You could get anything from the loot pool. And of course, they're adding new things to that loot pool. And the participation award at the end of the event is going to be pretty nice. And this is coming up in like a month. I think it's like a month and a week or something like that before the year 400 event. As of me recording this, it's like year 391 or 392. So this is going to be coming up pretty soon. So looking forward to that. But something I'm super looking forward to, and of course, the one that we get like zero information on, is that they're going to be adding some new Slayer content. They added no new Slayers or levels of Slayers this year, but saying that they haven't added levels of Slayers sounds like they're going to be adding levels of Slayers, which I've been hoping that they would add level 10 Slayers. I've wanted to have a reason to grind Slayers for so long, but they don't want to continue this trend deep into 2025. So deep into 2025 sounds like it's going to be a little while before this happens. I imagine maybe June, July, August, hopefully before September next year, but finally going to be getting a Slayer update. And it might not all be at once because some of it's in the development stage and some of it is in the design stage. So we could be getting part of the Slayer update at one point and part of it at another point, similar to Glaciate Tunnels, but we'll see. Also, Chocolate Factory V4, where they're going to be adding a Chocolate Factory RNG meter, a new faction tower where you'll choose like a different faction similar to Mage and Berserker, or Mage and Barbarian, sorry. But each faction tower will allow you to get unique rabbits that will remain in your possession as long as you pay enough coins to keep them. And basically, it's going to be a coin sink for people who want to be high on the Chocolate Factory leaderboard. For everyone else, it's just a little boost of chocolate. Also, they want to add more year-long SkyBlock event, and these events will be a 12-year cycle. Again, this is in-game, by the way, not an IRL year, but an in-game year, so about 5 days, that will retroactively include the Year of the Pig event. So if they're adding Year of the Seal and Year of the Pig, it'll be like every 50 days or so you get a new 5-day event, so that'll be kind of nice. And of course, the Year of the Seal will be balanced around new fishing content, so I'm guessing we won't see that until after the Glaciate Lake update comes out. They're also in the final stages of designing a multi-part garden update that adds new gameplay options and explores other areas of farming, but this hasn't begun development yet, so that might be a 2026-2027 thing. We'll see. Once again, Forging Update is going to have content from newer Minecraft versions, but it's not going to stop there. Once they start updating to newer Minecraft versions from Forging Update, they're going to start adding more and more things from newer versions. For example, custom models, resource packs, items, and display entities. And they do show some of their resource pack stuff that they've got here, where you can look through the bazaar menu right here. And again, this is not final. They put that in big red letters up here. Work in progress, but I like this Heart of the Mountain menu. This looks pretty sick. But again, in 2025, they plan on releasing new zones that leverage these new features, including the second island of Galatia and another very special place in time that should not come as a surprise to lore enthusiasts. Again, I think this is what's going to be after the Rift I mentioned. If you've beaten the Rift, you'll be able to access a second breach that I'm hoping is going to be like the early version of SkyBlock before it was SkyBlock, kind of the Pangea of the SkyBlock universe, where we can kind of just go around to the different islands and they're all attached. That would be super duper cool, but that's just one theory. It could also be like the precursors area before they got annihilated by whatever happened to them. But that is everything in this year's post for 2024. So we've got a lot to look forward to in 2025. I know a lot of people look down on this year as one of the worst years in SkyBlock, which I think is kind of fair. I know a lot of people didn't really love the Rift update. Personally, the Glaciate Tunnels update is one of my favorite updates, especially to mining. But I know there were a lot of updates that were not really loved, and of course, we still don't have the foraging update. But I do think we have to keep in mind that we did get updates like every single month this year, which was pretty awesome. And of course, we have a lot to look forward to in 2025, but that's not to overshadow the fact that, again, foraging update has taken 3 years to come out. We were told we were hopefully getting an alpha early last year, or this year, and it still hasn't happened. And yeah, that kind of sucks, like a lot. But I do think it will be worth the wait. The admins generally pull through with these banger big content updates, and I am looking forward to 2025. We might actually get the forging update before GTA 6. But before I let you go, we are doing some rank up giveaways for Hypixel in my Discord server. So make sure to join that with the link in the description. We're giving out 5 ranks every week until Christmas, so make sure to join that. But thank you guys so much for watching to the end. I hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you in the next one. Have an amazing rest of your day, and God bless.